Some time ago, I stumbled upon a tier list template for Shining Force 1 battles, and thought to myself, what kind of a person would do this? Turns out, I'm that person. And I've got 12 pages of notes, and that's with me trying to keep things short. There's not much ranking criteria to be found here. This is mostly just based on how much fun I have with these battles. As always, feel free to share your comments and thoughts, so let's dive in. Battle 1. Enemy at the Gates. This battle happens because, for whatever reason, the Runefaust army is trying to get into the Temple of the Ancients and the evil that dwells there. Why? We don't really know. Yet. But it's our duty to protect it. This is a solid battle to start the game with. It's fairly easy, the map is fairly small, so no one should be getting left behind, but there's enough difficulty there to let us know how unfair this game can be at times. Did you know that if that Dark Dwarf double hits Max, he'll die instantly? Yeah, I've learned that. Once we wipe out the enemy, surprise, it was all a diversion. But was it really? Doesn't matter, Runefaust is all up in Gardinia now. This battle gets a good ranking. It introduces us to the best and the worst concepts of the game. Battle 2. Save Gardinia. Quick, we've got to get to Gardinia. Oh no, a giant chasm from an earthquake blocks our way. We can just take this other path. Welcome to the forest and mountain maps. These are the worst terrain types in the game. This one isn't the worst, but it can feel like it due to the narrow path you have to walk at the start, and none of your units will deal with this well. This can really put a damper on the game. Once you get through the forest and the hills, it really doesn't get much more exciting. You just beat the enemies you've already encountered. The formation the enemies take on the bridge is neat. It tries to teach you some level of tactics, since if you focus purely on melee attacks, your units will get encircled. I'm not a big fan of this battle. If it was later in the game, I'd probably just call it filler, but it's just going to go in fine for now. Now, let's see how Gardinia is doing. Uh-oh. Battle 3. The Road to Alterone. Turns out Gardinia wasn't in good shape, so we need to get to Alterone to try to save it from the same fate. Look, it's hard to judge these first few fights by the standards of the late game, but looking back on it, geez, I'd almost call this one filler too. Almost, because at the start of the game we don't really know any better, and there's supposed to be a gradual build-up of things. We're still learning the game here. At least there's a new enemy. That will put you to sleep and dodge all your attacks. Yay! This is the first fight for Gort and May, so that's something. This one just goes into fine too. We're off to a great start here. You know what, I think I have to put this one above the other one. Just seems proper. Good luck telling which is which from those thumbnails though. Battle 4. To save a kingdom. Holy crap, we're about to fight Cain. Here we go. And he's gone. This is probably the best battle we've run into so far. We see new enemy units and mages and archers, so there's a difficulty spike. This is also the first battle that gives us the option to split our force down 2 paths to tackle the enemy. I don't, but you could. We are literally fighting to save the kingdom of Alterone here, and having us battle in the streets adds a level of urgency. This is probably the first time we've gotten enemy formations asking us to wreck them with Blaze 2, and that's always fun. Magic is so much better in Shining Force 1 compared to 2. Great? Yeah, we're gonna put this one into great. Battle 5. The Journey to Manarina, or Welcome to the Desert. Okay, I love this battle. We get a new enemy type here in zombies, and you learn a very important lesson. Fire kills the undead. It's a hard and rewarding battle, where the smallest mistake can lead to your death. I can understand if you hate this battle. This introduces the desert terrain, and if you thought forests and mountains were bad, well, here's a whole map of it. Also, those zombies we talked about, they can rip through your force real fast, and if they do, you'll have to redo that damn desert walk. Also, the dwarves and bats you meet at the bridge can slow you down, though you're probably a bit too strong for them at this point. Still, it's my list, and I like this one. We're gonna put it in great, and you know what? It's going above the other one. I really like that fight. Battle 6. Cave of Darkness. This might be my favorite chapter for fights, cause damn, I love this one too. I think I might just have a thing for fights where magic is important. And oh look, we get 2 mages now, and a new enemy in skeletons. How do they handle fire? We've been sent down here to this cave to retrieve the Orb of Light, which we can use to access the Pool of Ancients. Spoiler, After this fight, we learn that Dark Soul is trying to unseal some ancient evil. The true plot is happening, and I'm on board with it. Oh, and this is an okay fight if you want to grind, because there's 2 zombies right at the start you can attack over and over with Teo and Andre. Going above the previous battle, it's great too. This is a pretty solid chapter. Battle 7, Circus of Fear. The training wheels are off now, and the game can now get serious. The circus tent battle is probably the most iconic battle in the game, the battle where playthroughs go to die. What more can be said about this one? We fight our first boss, the marionette, and this thing can kill multiple characters in a single cast of Freeze 3. It recovers HP, it's got a high evade rate, and if you aren't aware of how to use the power ring, it can be a roadblock. Enough about marionette here. Lots of other cool stuff to talk about. The circus tent setting is unique and memorable. The new doll enemies are wonderful too. And there are lots of chests to be looted as well. Legendary. Maybe even number 1 at the end of the day. Battle 8. Army of Darkness. What the hell is going on here? This abbey is quite shady. This battle can go south quickly if you don't make the right moves. We get lured into a rather spooky trap here by some creepy townsfolk, who are led by a priest who turns out to be Dark Soul himself. And now we have to do some close quarters fighting with the undead. Oh, and Max, our hero, is separated from our force too. Trapped in church, surrounded by evil, low on gas. I love this battle, I love the challenge of it, I love the close quarters fighting that takes place. I love the low-key horror movie feel, I love everything about it. It's also a great place to grind, but grinding is for the weak. Oh, and if you haven't learned the power of mages against the undead yet, this will be the place. What a solid chapter. This is going in great too. And in fact, I think it's going to go right near the top of great. Battle 9. Quarry Story. We had to have some come down after the last couple battles, and it's not as if this one is all that far down. We are here to save the men of Bostoke, who've been taken to a quarry near town to dig up an ancient weapon, the Laser Eye. Foreshadowing. This map introduces us to a lot of new enemy types, lizardmen, dark elves, and dark priests, and a master mage who serves as an acceptable boss for the battle. It has a fairly decent map layout where our force is constantly pushing down into the bottom of the quarry. A solid, if not spectacular battle. Don't forget to loot the Moondew, among other things. Putting this one in good, and you know what, we're going to put it ahead of the first battle. Battle 10, Xylos World. I don't think there's a better map that could be made to introduce us to Xylo. A werewolf we recruit in Bostoke. Xylo starts with 7 movement, and on top of that isn't impacted by forests, and guess what's all over this map? Yep, lots of forests. Not only will most of your force be slow to move, but Xylo also hits like a truck at this point in the game. He is going to look like a monster here. This battle itself is really just a filler battle though. We've got enemies put in our way just to slow us down. In addition to showing off Xylo, this is also a battle where the Birdmen can shine. This one's going to end up in good too, elevated here by Xylo. Battle 11, the final countdown. This whole chapter has been setting up this battle, and you better believe it delivers. Staring across at us from a long, narrow mountain pass is the ancient weapon known as the Laser Eye, and there's only one way past it. Except you can totally bypass it with a flyer and kill the Rune Knight that's the real boss. Anyway, this is an exhilarating battle the first time you do it. Before you get anywhere near the mountain pass, you see the Laser Eye start to count down. To what? You don't know, but you know it's bad. So you decide to wait it out for it to finish its countdown, confident you can run across the bridge in time afterwards. It fires, and oh my god, it's hitting its own units. You steel yourself and start to run across. And, uh-oh, we're not gonna make it in time. Quick, we've gotta hide in this nook. Oh no, not everyone can hide. Fire! The blast comes. Some of your units may fall, but you've gotta push through. Even when you get to the Laser Eye, it's surrounded by enemies you have to fight tooth and nail. And congrats, you've beat the most memorable fight in the game. Even when you learn how to cheese it and skip the eye, it's still fun because the flight across the map is a bit treacherous. Just don't save scum. The stuff of legends. And we're actually going to put this above the marionette fight. It's debatable, but that's what we're doing. Battle 12. A good man dies. I wish it didn't have to be this way, Elliot. I want this battle to be more than it is. When I see the two armies facing each other across the map, I salivate at the idea of facing another force with, dare say, good AI. I always wanted that two-player Shining Force game. The closest we got to it was the control enemy code in Shining Force 2. Okay, let's get back on topic. Instead, what we get is General Elliot being stuck in place and splitting his army into 3 easier-to-handle chunks. We still get to see the two armies clash when they run into each other though, and that's kinda cool. You know what's not neat? The amount of time it takes the cursor to move back and forth between your force and the enemies at the start of this battle. And add on to that the time it takes to finally engage. It's great the first time, but God forbid you have to regress. Still, this is the only battle of this type in the game, and that makes it stand out, and that's what matters. Thinking high good here, maybe even low great? We're gonna put this in high good at the moment. Battle 13, Storming the Gate. Something about this rather mundane battle appeals to me. I think it's that the map layout and tile set does a very good job of making it feel like a literal siege. You start by pushing your force up a narrow choke point in the walls, and once you break through, the town is yours. Well, not really, but the map opens up considerably, and you've got so many options on where to go. This battle also features the debut of Domingo and Goots, two of the more unique members of the force. Sorry, I don't have much to add on this one. It's sort of filler, but it's one that I kind of really love. So we're going to put this in good, and yeah, about ahead of the quarry battle. Battle 14, the Butcher of Urianbaatar. We are now entering the mid-game crawl. I don't think this battle is inherently bad, but something about it just doesn't appeal to me. Balbazak should be an intimidating figure, but it's always come off as a cheap Mongol stereotype, which honestly should appeal to me, but it doesn't. The battle itself is fairly good. It's a small map that can lead to us engaging multiple enemies at once, so it should get frantic and gives us lots of decision points, and also gives us some good chances at hitting mage AoEs, which always makes me smiles. There's also a random doll left over from the marionette fight that I want to hug. Sorry guys, I just don't like this one. It's still gonna end up in good though. Yeah, we're gonna actually put it about in the middle of good. Battle 15, Water, Water Everywhere. Let's be upfront here. This chapter is a filler chapter. Nothing of consequence really happens here. So the battles in it should suffer the same fate, right? Wrong. I love our first sea battle. Mostly because it's a different battle setting, with lots of new and interesting enemies. Sure, there's not much of a reason for this fight to actually take place, but I like it. I've got a bit of an ocean phobia, and the conches and shellfish give me the giblies. They are creepy when they are inside their shells, but God knows what eldritch horrors lurk inside. Must be something terrifying because these guys eat through a boat and leave us stranded at sea. But we're saved by mermaids? So, yay. This is gonna go at the bottom of good. Battle 16. You shall not pass. When I first played this, I bought in hook, line, and sinker that something very important was gonna happen here. And when the Master Mage mustered the last of his strength to block the way, I was devastated. I really should have known better. There's no way an unnamed mage was going to be that important. The design of this map is fantastic. The map looks futuristic, but also looks like something that's been around for millennia, which is exactly how something from the ancients should look. The battle itself is rather standard, with one highlight being the path to the Master Mage himself. The Master Mage is standing atop a staircase, and there will be a literal line of enemies you will have to fight through to get him. The path can also leave you ripe for a Master Mage AoE with Freeze 2? Freeze 2? Side note, remember the marionette? He had Freeze 3, and the regular Chapter 5 enemies still don't. What a terrifying encounter. This battle, like this chapter, is primed for a filler rank, but I can never forget how much this excited me the first time through. Dare I say great? No, this has to be good. It can't go that much higher. Battle 17. Here we go again. Those are Nova's exact words. Even the game isn't excited about this one. Remember the last sea battle we just did? This is pretty much the same thing without the excitement. Before we label this as filler, let's see what we can take from it. This battle is the first battle where enemy units will join in halfway through. This will catch you unaware and can do a fair bit of harm to you if your force is positioned wrong. This tactic is used later with much more devastating effect. Also, gargoyles make their first appearance here. Do you remember what happens as a consequence of this battle? Because I sure didn't. The monsters damage our ship, again, and we drift aimlessly towards the shore. I didn't remember that, because the place we land seems to be exactly where the story needs us to be anyway. Filler or fine? We're gonna have to put this one in filler. Something's gotta be at the bottom. Battle 18, Golems The Prize. If Shining Force gives you a map that looks too easy, you know there's a trap lying in wait. Either another set of enemies are going to come riding in, or they're just lying in wait to pop up when you get close. Here, we've got mages and golems lying in wait, ready to pounce. To make matters worse, the entire battle takes place over forest and mountain terrain, so many of our force members are stuck in place ready to be ambushed. If your units are isolated enough when the golems appear, goodbye units. If they're too bunched up when the mages appear, and they will be because the terrain is a pain, goodbye units. Speaking of the terrain, what a terrible battle for Lyle to make his debut. He can barely move. Adding to the fun, the Dullahan first appears here, and not only does it have a great attack and defense, it's also standing on a 30+ defense tile. Hope your mages are still alive. Sidebar, what is a Dullahan? I've always wondered that. Tell me, Wikipedia. The Dullahan is a type of mythical creature in Irish folklore. He is depicted as a headless rider on a black horse who carries his own head held high in his hand or under his arm. So yeah, I can understand disliking this battle, but there's always enough going on here to keep my interest. I think we're gonna put this... We're gonna put it in low grade. I was gonna put it in good, but good looks pretty full. Gotta have some separation here. Battle 19. That's gotta be Kane. Kane has been harassing our force pretty much from the start of the game, and now it's time to get our hands on him. But first we've got some pretty tricky formations to deal with. Above us are a group of gargoyles begging for our new baby dragon Blue to chew them up and spit them out. Again and again. Because Blue needs lots of love. Blue is the best. There will be no Blue slander on this channel. In front of us is a roadblock composed of golems, master mages, and a high priest. A perfectly mixed bunch of units. Too bad they're also standing in a row. Did you know golems are weak to fire? Yeah, these guys are going to get caught in a massive firestorm. Hiding behind everyone else is Kane himself, flanked by 2 Dullahans. Hey, weren't you guys bosses like last chapter? And his own mages. Say what you want for Kane, the person, but Kane the fighter can certainly put together a well-built force. Finally, May can get a revenge on this villain for killing her father. Why are you so quiet, May? Remember folks, you only get character development when you get recruited into the force. Once you're in, you're just a unit with a name. This battle is iconic, memorable when you first do it, and memorable years later. For some reason though, I can't put it in top tier. Maybe it's because Kane's D-Soul spell never hits my characters, so he's just not that intimidating to me. Into Great you go. And we're gonna put him... he's gonna be at the top of Great, let's be honest. Battle 20. The Marathon. Do you like long walks through the forest? Cause I got a battle just for you. It's not just that this is a big map, and it's not just that the terrain makes this battle a pain. It's also the layout of the map. There are 2 choke points that you will get pushed through, and each has its own poison. The first doesn't seem all that bad, but there's a chance it can go south quickly. The gargoyles here cast Muddle, which is confusion, and side note, I thought this was bugged for the longest time, but I was hit with it on my last playthrough. If they confuse the right unit at the right time, and the RNG goes wrong, all hell can break loose. Not to mention the bolt spells that the Belials have. The second choke point isn't that difficult, it's just a narrow corridor to the final enemies of the map. What makes it a pain is that it's all difficult terrain, and you've already slogged through most of the map to get here. So you aren't going to be patient, and you'll just run in and maybe lose some units. This makes it sound like this is a hard fight, but it really isn't. It's just tedious, and that's the worst thing a battle can be. At least there's an ominous castle in the distance that promises a much better time. Fine or filler? I think this is going to go fine, but it's going to go way down at the end of it. Battle 21. The Demon Dance. This battle has so much going for it. We've got Michaela herself, one of the main enemies in the game, and she doesn't disappoint. In the end, she sits on a throne throwing lightning down at the party. A throne which limits the amount of melee attacks that can be done to her. Second, the castle itself is unlike any we've encountered so far. We need to respect the fact that this entire battle takes place in a skull-shaped castle. That's just fantastic. Third, the cat and mouse game Michelle plays with us during her battle is exquisite. She starts in the middle of the map and makes her way to her throne, but along the way she's leading us past obstacles. First, there are the enemies perched on the balconies to the left and right of the starting area, and to pursue her, you've got to engage and run past gargoyles, which are nothing at this point, and bow riders, which can do a ton of damage. Then she runs past a wall of mages, and finally up a ladder, leaving her two Dullahans to fight you one-on-one. Finally, we can loot the Sword of Light in this battle, which lets Max take on his final unstoppable form. Oh, and there's also white rings and evil rings to be looted here as well. All in all, a fantastic battle worthy of the legend tier. And I think we're going to put it above the marionette fight for now. Battle 22, the Mech Warriors. This has all the trappings of a battle we should hate. Bad terrain? Check. No major story implications? Check. The cool unit we just got can't really move? Check. But you know what it has? Robots. All of the new enemies we encounter here are very cool. We've got jets, we've got torch eyes, and look at these things. How do they even work? We're fighting with swords here, and these guys have freaking lasers. Writes home that famous quote, "I do not know with what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." To me, this battle has always felt like the start of the endgame too, where things start to get real, and I'll attribute that to the robots, since, well, some of these guys are around for the final battle. I think this is going to go right in the great tier. I can't put it above the zombie battle, but I can put it in between the zombies and the ancient pool fight. Battle 23, Climbing the Ancient Tower. The concept here of fighting to the top of the tower is great. The execution, not so much. I'm not sure this franchise has ever nailed the execution with these types of battles. This battle, the Ancient Tower battle in Shining Force 2, and the Lookover Tower battle in Shining Force 3 all have the same problem. And that problem is, they feel like a slog or an endurance test. Maybe that's how they should feel. You're ascending the tower and it's supposed to be a struggle. But the only struggle you encounter here is time, not so much difficulty. There is some potential for trouble in a few spots here. There are some choke points that can be found on the stairs, and at this point the torch eyes still do enough damage to hurt us if we get careless. I do have to give credit here. They do go all in on the premise since we have to climb an extra long staircase to meet the map boss. An extra long staircase where it's possible to get attacked by wyverns on the way. But that boss is just a squishy mage. Good concept, so-so execution. Good. And we're going to put this at the bottom of good, actually. Battle 24, Pure Chaos. Danger. The Force is in danger right from the start of this one. Hell, one of our Force members is already dead. Oh, you didn't know? Adam has silently joined the Force. This battle is amazing. You don't have to wait. From the first move, you are in the thick of it. Almost all the enemy units will be aggressive. You will have jets diving in to take out casters, torch eyes right on top of you shooting freaking lasers, and oh, Chaos? He's not one to wait around for you. He's coming. If this is your first time here, you'll probably need to aggress because he won't be prepared for how out of control things can get. If you've been here many times, you might have to aggress too, because this is probably the best battle to grind on, and good luck grinding Adam in the next fight if you don't do it here. So, what's holding this back? It's Chaos himself. He's a pretty ineffective boss, and maybe that's good, because the last thing this battle needs is some super boss spamming Bolt 3 everywhere. This is a fun one, and it's certainly going near the top. And you know what? It's gonna go into Legendary. It's a fun time. Battle 25, The Gates of Runefaust. Witness, the last stand of the Runefaust army is a fight to keep us from their homeland. Sorry, this battle stinks. It's the last terrain slog we have to do, and there's very little to redeem it. The new enemy types are uninspired. The horsemen hit like trucks, but can be one hit at this point. The Cerebi just seem weak, and the armed skeletons? Well, okay. The armed skeletons are awesome. Whoever decided to give a skeleton a machine gun should get a raise. Not much to say. We trudge through this one and it's on to bigger and better things. This one's just filler. But it's certainly better than the sea battle. Now Max, on to Runefaust. Battle 26, A Strong Wind is Blowing. The boss run is about to start, but we're not quite there yet. We have this battle to whet our appetites with. You know you're near the end of the game when you start to encounter dragons and chimeras, both of which will be around until the end. Well, there's nothing overly impressive here. There's nothing bad either. We've got some unique formations to deal with, some overly aggressive enemies, and some chests to loot. This battle almost feels like our well-earned victory lap, where you get to bask in your power. Well, until you learn this whole battle was one elaborate trap. But more on that next time. This one's just going to end up in good, and we're going to slap it above the quarry, but below Bulbasac, because Bulbasac still has a boss. Battle 27. Long Live the King. This battle is all about choices. King Ramladu stands tall to the north of us, and his robot army to the south. The choice is, do we rush Ramladu and try to take him out before the robots crash into us? Or do we deal with the robots and let Ramladu watch his empire fall? Either option leads to a fun fight. If you go south and engage the robots, things will appear to be going great. But here's the thing, when you engage a bunch of enemies of the same type, they will all move at the same time. That can cause heaps of damage because you're not prepared for it. This almost leads to the Fire Emblem battle system, where you move and then the enemy does. But if you clear the robots, Ramladu is easy pickings. If you head to Ramladu straight away, you get the frantic fighting I love this game for. Chances are, you can take Ramladu out first, but if the robots catch up to you, they will chew you up. This battle has great replayability, but it's a touch too easy to make it legend tier. We're going to throw this thing into great, and we're going to put it behind the zombie fight. Makes sense to me. Battle 28. A great start. This right here is a tale of two battles. We start by getting assailed by dragons and chimeras on all sides, and have to push up through a choke point where pretty much everything on the map will try to maul us. It really pays to make sure your squishy characters are properly protected here. Once you're through the horde of enemies though, it kinda sucks. The Colossus is cool in design but boring to fight. Not only is he, or them, a speed bump we could possibly one-hit, it's a bit of a long walk from the place we fight the last of his monsters till we get to a Colossus head. Then it's a small journey to the next one. This is our first fight in the ancient castle, and the idea of the Colossus is alright, but this leaves us wanting. It's just gonna get into good. We got a lot of battles in good. We have to put it above Balzac, and we have to put it above the storming of Urim Batol as well. Battle 29. Dark Soul Beckons. This map begs you to run up the middle choke point and engage Dark Soul and his troop all at once. But this is your 29th battle and you're a little too smart for that. And while that would be a fun skin in your teeth battle, everyone who falls in this battle won't be around for what comes next. So you're going to split up and work up both sides until you get to Dark Soul. It's going to take longer, and be less of an adventure, and be less fun, but we've been molded into a rigid battle commander at this point. Fun is risky, and boring gets your team home safe. Even Dark Soul isn't too challenging when you get to him. He's got some support around him, but they stand in a way that screams use magic on me, and at this point we're so flush with rings everybody can cast spells. I get why this is not as hard as it can be, since it's part 1, but it's gonna suffer for it, and I think we're gonna put it in good. That seems wrong though. We're gonna put it right there. Battle 30. 3 heads are better than 1. You won't forget this battle. It might be a bit easy, but fighting a 3-headed dragon, and all the heads at the same time, is unforgettable. Once you start this battle, your forces spread out, wanting you to engage all 3 heads at once. We won't, or at least I won't. But it's more than manageable to fight the 2 side heads at once before moving on to the main one. The main head has enough HP to make you wonder if you're ever going to crack through and finish him. But when you do, remember to do so with Max for an Easter egg. Have to also give props for the never-ending supply of armed skeletons that show up. If anything's going to back you up, it's a skeleton with a gun. I think this goes right at the end of Legend here. I'm not so sure it's earned it, but it's also the final battle. So this is our list here, and is there anything that seems to be ranked incorrectly? You know what? The icons make it a little hard to vamp and change things, but I think I'm gonna be okay with this. I think we will go with the laser eye being the best fight. I just think it's built up so much, and it delivers a bit. I know you can cheese it with Balberet, but it's just got a special place in my heart. There's a fear that it establishes. So, Thanks for joining me on this journey. This right here was right up my alley. I love making lists of, let's be honest, silly things, and the sillier the better. So if you're still here, thanks for watching. Drop a like and a subscribe if you feel I've earned it. Comments are always welcome. Telling me your favorite battles or the battles you hate the most is also welcome. And if you got any ideas for other Shining Force things we can rank, or really anything we can rank, I'm lucky to have them. We're getting close to the bottom of the barrel on Shining Force 1 things I can rank, but we're not quite there yet. So, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.